Hey there, everybody. Hope your 2026 has been off to a good start. It's been a little rough on this end of things. But even with that said, I wanted to sit down in front of this camera and I wanted to talk about some of the goals that I have for this year. Because last year was the first time I did a goals video for Azukail Games, and I figured, why not make this a tradition? Because if nothing else, it lets you all know what I'm planning on trying to do and how you can help me reach wherever it is I'm going. And it keeps me on task and starts putting my brain into the, well, appropriate slot for achieving certain ends by the end of the year. For folks who were with me last year, unfortunately, I only managed to reach about one of the 3 goals I had set up, so I figured this year, rather than scaling back, I'll give myself more goals because that's how things work. But I'm hoping that this year they're going to be a little more achievable, and there's some stuff that you all can do to help me, but there's plenty of stuff that I can do to push these things forward. Now, first and foremost, one of the things that I want to do this coming year is I want to get back onto and expand my Sundara Dawn of a New Age setting. At the moment, it's still only available for D&D 5e and Pathfinder 1st Edition, but who knows, maybe one of the things we do this year is expand the types of games that the setting is offered for. However, I want to be more specific than just do more stuff for whatever setting it is. So, what I want to do this year is I want to add at least 1 new city book, and I want to add at least 1 new species book. Now, if you're someone who has been along with the Sundara train, you've been seeing the stuff I've been putting out, maybe you've been playing with it, maybe you're just kind of watching some of the videos I make and talking about my process, I want to know your thoughts. Is there a particular type of city you would like to see, whether it's a predominantly inhuman city, whether it's a city that's more high-tech, whether it's a city that, I don't know, is an abandoned cathedral inside of a mountain that's haunted by gargoyles, whatever it is. Let me know that down in the comments. And for the species book, is there a particular player species you want to see? As I've said previously regarding Sundara, lots of folks have asked for minotaurs, lots of folks have asked for gargoyles. I still haven't done a humans book, and I have some ideas for how to really spice up, what is supposed to be the mayonnaise of fantasy. So if that's a thing you're interested in, let me know that too. But, moving on from Sundara, there is one goal from last year that I do feel really bad that I didn't finish, and I really should get on top of, and that's expanding Army Men and actually finishing the mission modules that I started. For folks who don't know, Army Men, a game of tactical plastic, is my personal RPG. It's the first RPG I've released, and it came out, I think, 2 years ago at this point. And there's a whole playlist on the channel of Tactical Plastic Report talks all about that game and all the stuff I'm doing with it, so please check that out if you're interested and this is somehow the first you're hearing of it. But my goal for last year is I wanted to start releasing mission modules, because though adventure modules are one of the worst selling products, they are kind of a necessity for getting people into a game, especially if it's a game with an unusual setting, or it's a game with a lot of weird lore, people have to adjust their expectations. And Army Men has so many little things that are different, I wanted to give game masters and players a sense of what's normal and a sense of what they should be expecting. And last year I only got 2 missions done. I wanted to get 5 done. So while the first 2 are still out there, and I highly recommend you going to the Azukail Games page over on DriveThruRPG and picking them up, and there might be links below, so check the video description if this is something you're interested in, I do want to finish those other 3 missions. It's just going to take some time, because, first of all, one of the reasons modules are such a problem is they require art, and they require maps. So if you're one of those people who thinks you can just churn out an adventure overnight, if you can't draw maps yourself, that can require a lot of hunting and pecking and figuring out what you're going to be doing. So bear with me while I try to get all of those resources together, because I am on a shoestring budget, so I have to essentially find the art first and then base the module around it. Which, for folks who actually got a hold of Assault on Outpost 13, that's the entire way that module was put together. But the other problem is, because modules are such a low seller, it's a rough investment both for me as the creator, but also for Azukail Games as a company, because while we have a lot of fun, we make a lot of cool stuff, it is really tough to get the green light for something that not a lot of people are actually going to buy. So if you want to support that goal, you want to support that project, please go pick up some Army Men stuff. Send the message to my publishers that there are players out there, there are game masters out there who are interested in the setting, interested in this game, because the more folks who are showing visible interest, the more likely it is I will get a green light to do whatever wacky nonsense I come up with. But moving on to our third goal on this list, is there is a project that I've talked about several times on the channel, which is the Chronicles of Darkness fiction podcast I wanted to put together that is tentatively titled Windy City Shadows. And last year I was talking about this a little bit, but I've been mostly radio silent on it because, well, writing scripts is not a really flashy thing and there's not a lot to share with folks. But I spent most of last year working on it pretty diligently, and as of right now I'm about halfway through episode 6 of a 10-episode series. And for folks who are wondering why it's taking so long, well, part of it is time and energy of there's only so many hours in a day, and when it comes to which projects get my attention first, the question is going to be which ones are going to pay my bills this month. So I am squeezing a little bit to find time for this project, but it is still getting worked on, it is still seeing progress. And the other part of it is that the word count of these might be a little bit bigger than folks think. If you are a fan of the audio dramas I put on the channel, they usually range from 6 to 9 minutes, somewhere in there. Every episode of this show is probably going to range more from 20 to 30 minutes. So the scripts are a lot heftier, and when you put the entire season 1 together, the word count is on par with some of the novels I've written. So they're definitely taking time, and I do not want to rush them. I also have to, talk to all of my actors. I have to get feedback from people. I have to make sure that things are working properly. So there's a lot that goes into this, and that's part of the reason it's taking so long. I had wanted to be at the stage I'm at now by last August. But since there was no official deadline for it, there was no funding given to me for it yet. I don't feel too bad about pushing back the deadline on that. With that said, if that's a project you all are interested in, if you're definitely looking for more stuff from it, let me know that down in the comments below, and check out Discussions of Darkness. I believe it's episode 31 where I did an Ask Me Anything about it, and that episode lasted, I think, about a half an hour almost. So that should answer all of your questions about what the podcast will be about and the sorts of things you'll, look forward to, or whatever hear forward to is, since it's going to be in an audio format. And that is something that I am hoping, if it does really well, I'll be able to do at least a second season for it. I have ideas for going beyond a second season, but a lot of that's going to come down to audience, time, money, and funding. I don't know why I said that one twice. Anyway. But yeah, if that's the thing you like, if you're really engaged by it, you really enjoy it, I am more than happy to keep that train rolling and to keep things going forward. All I need is support from you, whether it's subscribing, following, watching it, sharing it with your friends, actually providing money once there's a funding mechanism open for it. Whatever you can do, if you do it, I will keep doing my end. That is a promise I am willing to make on camera to all of you right now. Fourth goal, and this one is for the Azukail Games channel right here. Unfortunately, the reality of living on the internet is that the companies that manage the platforms we do things on will occasionally make changes for no particular reason. And a lot of those changes are detrimental to the people who live and work on the platform. Last summer, YouTube decided to kick their algorithm again. And part of this is due to the rollout of the hype program they've had going on. A lot of folks out there may have seen this. If you were like me, you didn't find out about it until somebody asked you, and then you were wondering what they were talking about. Excuse me. But generally speaking, the way this program works is that people who are participatory members, I'm not for some reason, I can't hype any videos, but the way it works is there'll be a button next to the super thanks or super fan button, whichever one it is, the heart with the little $sign in it, and it'll say hype. What that means is that when a video is within its first week of release, you can click that and give it some of your hype points. Ideally, this will help the video do better. It will put it up on a leaderboard on a separate YouTube site that people will see outside of their For You page, and that sort of encourages this new form of audience participation. As a way to try to push this program, it seems, I wasn't in the room, I have no idea what happened, so this is my speculation, But it seems that the algorithm was shifted in such a way that traffic across the board dropped for everyone, and not just a little bit, we're talking 50% or more drop in traffic, and that's after the same algorithm adjustment that happened a year before that. So if you go back to some of our earlier videos on the channel, you'll see that when I first started giving videos to Adrian, they were getting 400, 500, 800 views. Go a few years later, we're getting 200 views, maybe. Fast forward to this year, we're lucky to get 50 views on a new video when it drops. Which is frustrating because, in my opinion at least, our quality has gone up, we have more tools, we're using better programs. I even got a shiny new mic for folks who don't want to hear a weird hissing noise in the background. And all of that time, energy, and effort isn't being reflected because the algorithm decides, arbitrarily it seems, who actually gets attention. And that makes it really hard for us to come up with a lot of new content concepts, to really push bigger things, more involved things, because we have no idea whether the algorithm's just going to see it and go, cool story, bro, nobody's ever going to see that. So, still one of the best guaranteed ways to help everyone on YouTube that, creates that you like is like, share, subscribe, comment something over 7 words. Those are the best things we can do. And of course, actually hit that bell, because that will bring things to your For You page. At this point, if you're just subscribed and this video goes up, it's possible you didn't see it until I started talking about it on social media. If you hit that bell, it's way more likely to show up in your For You page, and you can decide then if you actually want to watch it. And that gets into the goal, because expanding your audience is still one of the biggest, most guaranteed ways to actually get attention on YouTube. Well, on any platform, but especially on YouTube. We've been sitting at about 1,850 subs for a couple of weeks, and that's not terrible. It's more than where we were at the start of last year, that's for sure. But my goal was last year to get us up over 2,000 subscribers. I would have loved to do more, but I felt 2,000 was a relatively achievable goal. And we fell a little bit short of it. But if there's 150 folks out there watching this video, if it does better than some of our other stuff and everyone tunes in and you want to help me out and make me look good in the eyes of my publisher, hit that subscribe button and see if we can get us a little bit closer to 2,000, preferably before my birthday, which is in May. So if you want to give me an early birthday present, this is a great way to do it. And I have one more secret goal, which I'll give everyone a bit of a detail about, because I already mentioned that I have one really involved audio drama project that I'm working on. And for folks who are really interested in Windy City Shadows, or you just like the audio dramas I've done for the channel here and you wish there was more to consume, I do have something I'm working on. And I don't want to give too many details here because it's not directly connected to Azukail Games, but it is kind of an offshoot of something that I don't want to say mastered, but that I figured out how to do for the channel here. And I have a secret audio drama project that will be going on with Alice Liddell. And if you have not been to her channels, it's KHR Arts and Alice the Author. The former is her gaming channel, the latter is her author channel. And I highly recommend liking, subscribing, etc., etc. She talks about, writing and being a professional writer, and a lot of the stuff that she talks about is things that newer writers need to know. So if you're looking to get into either RPGs for a living or you're looking into writing novels, she has a wealth of information that you should definitely check out. But she and I are going to be working on a new channel that hopefully, fingers crossed, is going to see its first episodes going up next month. So I will definitely bother people about that when it's out, and I will, poke Adrian and ask him to please add the link in the video description below once it is live and people can go check out what we're doing. But if you're a fan of things like the SCP Foundation, if you're a fan of lots of other weird multi-dimensional exploration, isekais, things like that, you're going to want to come down this rabbit hole with us, because things are going to get very weird very quickly. And as always, if it's a thing that you enjoy, if it's a thing you want to see more of, or if it's just wacky and you want to see how far we can go with it, your eyes, your ears, your likes, your subscribes, all of that make a huge difference. So please keep that in mind when you show up and check out the new project. But those are my 5 goals for the new year, one of which will hopefully be up and running here in a month or so. and several others that, well, I'm just going to do my best to put them together, and hopefully you all out there decide that these are things that you want to support and that you want to see more of. But leave a comment down below if there's a goal I didn't mention, if there's something I have worked on that you want to see more of that I'm not doing, and I will see whether or not there's room in the schedule for it. I have a lot of stuff to do this year, but I am hoping that nothing slips through the cracks and I can get it all done. So, till next time, Happy New Year, everybody, and happy gaming.